It's been exactly 2 years since I first broke ground on Goldifarms, so I wanted to share a little bit about the journey and what's in store for season 3. Let's go! My desire to reduce my dependence on the system, grow healthy food, and be more connected to nature led me to transform my backyard in just 2 years from this to this. And this is Goldifarms, a suburban permaculture food forest on the central coast of California in Zone 9A. I wanted to share a little bit about the journey of creating Goldifarms over the past 2 years and share a little surprise about something exciting happening very soon. Creating Goldifarms has taught me that the calling of our heart exists for a reason, and it's never too late to tune in and turn around and go back to what you truly want. I had this dream on my heart for a long time to live connected to nature, living off the land and in community. But I had no idea how to get there. I didn't really know anything about growing food or planting trees, but I decided to start with what I had, and I was very fortunate to have a large backyard which gets lots of sunshine. Growing organically and restoring this land was the main goal for the beginning of the project, which naturally led me to discover permaculture, and I began learning as much as I could from books at the library and YouTube. I started drawing different designs, each one building on what I was learning. I decided I was going to create a hugelkultur maze. So hugelkultur is a style of raised beds that, as it turns out, do not do well in this climate, but I'll get to that part in a bit. I needed a lot of dirt, so I put an ad on Craigslist, and people brought in truckloads of dirt from all over the county. And it's through this ad that I also met Gilberto. There's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Gilberto saw my ad for dirt and my write-up about my project and the permaculture food forest I intended to create, and he reached out and shared about his forest and experience with permaculture, and he offered to lend a hand. He helped me improve my designs and introduced me to tons of new plants and concepts that were really pivotal in making this project come together. Friends and family helped build the raised beds, and I couldn't have done it without the support of friends. It was all going well except for the tons of garbage back there. You couldn't stick a shovel without hitting asphalt or concrete, old bottles, CDs, candy wrappers from the 80s. It was horrible how much garbage was out there. I got really discouraged, but Gilberto helped me break each piece into a smaller one, and together we cleaned up that yard. Because the soil was from all over the county, I couldn't do an accurate soil test, but you didn't need a scientist or a laboratory to tell that the soil was really poor quality. It was basically sand, and I really doubted whether anything would grow. But Gilberto picked up a 30-pound bag of sunflower seeds. I didn't know at the time, but sunflowers are phytoremediators, which means they can take heavy metals out of the soil. And the clover and other greens put roots in the soil, creating biomass and fixing nitrogen. I started watering, but of course the soil dried out the very next day, and meanwhile the birds were feasting on all my seeds. So Gilberto came by with a few bales of straw, and we scattered that over the seeds, and that was when the backyard truly transformed into Goldifarms. June, Goldifarms was bursting with life. Even more exciting to me than the plants were all the animals and having chickens, and I got some bunnies off of Craigslist, and all these creatures just having a wonderful life in this little paradise I had created for them. But then came the drought. That winter, when we normally get close to 20 inches of rain, we got less than 9. And when plants are first put in the ground, they need a lot of water to get established. And I had a lot of baby plants, so my water bill was insane. And meanwhile, those raised beds were just totally getting baked by the sun. And the design just wasn't working. I was really discouraged. I feared that all the work of building up those hugelkultur beds was actually going to just kill my trees. But I kept going, and I came across a podcast about farming in extreme dry conditions, and I discovered the concept of a water battery. The idea of a water battery is you dig a pit in the center of a group of trees and fill it with organic material, and that organic matter is going to hold moisture and charge up in the wintertime when it rains and be available for the trees in the summertime when they need it. I realized with the sunken paths, I already had the pit. I didn't have to dig anything. All I needed to do was fill it up with organic matter. So once again, friends came to the rescue, and we spread 15 yards of compost throughout the paths, and then over time I layered about 100 yards of wood chips and leaves on top of that, with help of course. It was a big task, but definitely worth it. Just a few weeks later, it was winter, and it started to rain again, and the wood chips all got soaked all the way down about 3 feet deep, and they stayed wet for the next 3 weeks that we didn't have any rain. My hope is that it'll continue to rain more this season to get those wood chips really wet, and over time they'll break down, and I'll have a really rich compost to work with, and most importantly, they'll help maintain moisture for the trees throughout the long, dry summers.
It has been quite a journey, and it's amazing how much I've learned through books from the library and YouTube, but I've really been feeling like I could benefit from a course. So I wanted to share that Gilberto and I are leaving for Chiapas, Mexico tomorrow to take a course in syntropic agriculture. We're really excited to share what we learn along the way and bring some new techniques back to Goldifarms. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.